The idea is to see the truth of things and to feel the power that we do feel, the liberating power of seeing the truth of things. To be able to acknowledge, yes, this is how things are. And this is what we share. It's not that life is all terrible, but it's moving, it's changing, it's unsteady. Said that we all share an urge toward happiness. We all want to be happy, and this is good. This is a beautiful thing. The urge toward happiness is not wrongful. It shouldn't make us squeamish or feel weird. The problem is not wanting to be happy. The problem is what is often a tremendous ignorance about where happiness is actually to be found. And so we believe so many things about what we're capable of, about strength, about resilience, about aloneness, about happiness itself. I can remember years ago I went to Israel to teach, and I went early before my retreat and was just staying in a friend's place in Jerusalem, and every day would walk through the old city of Jerusalem through this maze of alleyways which was just teeming with life, sights and sounds and goods for sale. And one day I was walking through there and one of the merchants called out to me, "I have what you need." And I stopped, and it was like a thrill went through my entire body. And I thought, wow, he has what I need. And I turned toward him, and then I thought, wait a minute. First of all, I don't need anything. Second of all, how would he know he has what I need? But we hear that message all of the time, don't we? I have what you need, and I have what you need, and I have what you need, and we get dizzy because we go for it so many times. And so we're exhausted, we're confused. We feel we need something, we're bereft, we're deprived, we're deficient. And so we absorb so much conditioning. What we're trying to do in the meditative process is just to recognize that that's the conditioned nature of our experience. And yet, if wanting to be happy is a good thing, not a negative thing, let's look at those assumptions, those expectations, those messages. See if we can release some of those and use that urge toward happiness as like a homing instinct for freedom. So instead of combined with ignorance, it's combined with some wisdom, with some clarity, with some understanding. So the first part is seeing we actually do want to be happy. We share that. Whoever we are, however twisted or distorted that gets through the force of ignorance, we want to feel a part of something greater than our limited sense of self. We want to feel at home in this life. And the second part of that is the dukkha part. It's seeing how vulnerable we are. Not that everything is bad, but it's so out of control, the circumstances of life. Like every single one of us can leave this room at 3 o'clock during the break, check our cell phones, and within 2 minutes, we can see it's a different life. Things have really changed because of whatever that message was. And that is true for everybody. And knowing that we share that should open us. It should be the doorway for a sense of connection rather than isolation, for a sense of caring and compassion rather than that kind of withdrawal and sense of isolation that so burdens us. So we just want to see things as they are. And to allow the truthfulness of that clarity, that vision, to take us wherever it takes us. That's the trust of the meditative process. And so we come back to suffering and the end of suffering. It's the way the Buddha described the world. And it begins with acknowledging the suffering instead of trying to repackage it or pretend it's not there, or it only happens to other people, or faraway people, or whatever it might be, or it only happens to me. To really see it in its own nature. And then to realize that there's the other part of that. There's the end of suffering. There's certainly the end of suffering from all of those accretions and the things that we add on through the force of habit and culture. Let's see what our experience actually is without so much of that burdening us. In terms of mindfulness, the beginning is to see what's happening as it actually is. Sometimes people compare this, or they equate this with passivity, complacency, hopelessness, that you're just going to hang out there in some miserable state because you're paying attention. But really, it's the beginning, it's the foundation. It's like the foundation of honesty or truthfulness, to say, yes, this is the experience right now. And before we work to reach out or transform or make a change or make a choice or whatever it might be, before any of that, that's what, from the Buddhist point of view, that's what we need to do. Perhaps you would say from the therapeutic point of view as well. Just to say, okay, this is what's happening right now. And that's actually an enormous step